Hello and welcome everybody to this special episode of the Shift with CJ podcast. Why is it special? Because today again we have a live person in the studio, in the biohacking studio today. I have someone special. Why? She's a mom. She loves nutrition. She's a cook. She's been studying water for the longest period of time. She talks to people. She brings healing. Please join your hands together to welcome Mrs. Hind Afife. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you. And the way I got to know about you, Hind, was one of our mutual friends, Davis, who has been in the biohacking group, and we've been having some conversations lately. And he's like, "You have to speak to Hind." And she knows all about water. And I was like, oh, okay. Water is something that I have been quite interested in because, like Hind mentioned a few minutes ago, you guys didn't see it because we were taking an Instagram live, that 75% of our body is water. So I was like, okay, I'm into water. I love hacking water or learning how to hack water. So let me bring an expert on the show so you guys can learn how to hack water as well. So, Hind, tell me, were you born and then you started hacking water, or what's your story? How did you get to hacking water?
it's I will share with you my story. It's I came to water maybe 4 years ago,
Hmm.
but let me start from the beginning. So I'm Moroccan. I grown up in Morocco. I went to France to study finance. I love finance.
Hmm.
So when I studied, I worked there. I was a really a career person. So I want to achieve. I want to be in the corporate world. When we moved to Abu Dhabi, I had my son. He was at that time like 3 years.
Hmm.
So we start having some issues with digestion, some issues with the behavior. So I was really completely lost. I was changing the countries. It's new culture. It's another language because I'm Moroccan. My second language is French. My third language is English. So it was really a tough time. So I find myself alone in the UAE, and I couldn't find the pill or treatment or medication to help my son. So I was running between doctors, psychologists, and stuff like that. And I was really completely disappointed because I couldn't find something that fixed. Because
The
as
doctor didn't give you a pill?
no, no, I was looking for the
Yeah.
pill, but I didn't get it. Thanks God. I will tell you something, because I had to just to sit down to see what's going on and follow my instinct, my gut feeling as a mom, and say what's going on, my little this little boy. And I start seeing this is problem, diarrhea issue with digestion, and I start very simple. I was completely new to the world of nutrition. I was not reading the labels of the food when I buy in the supermarket. I was not reading the side effects of the medication. It was kind of, it's not my problem. I am not the specialist. So I leave health and everything to the specialist, right?
Mhm.
So, which is really, really wrong, because I was giving something, the most precious things in my life, I was giving it to the hand of someone else. So I have to take a good care of my health. So I start diving in the world of the nutrition. I was studying, spending hours and hours online. I did a lot of training. I did a lot of, it's opened for me a big, big window of knowledge that I was really thirsty of. So I have no idea about nutrition. And of course, I was not linking nutrition with behavior and nutrition with health. It, for me, it's like two separate things. Okay. So I learned a lot. I spent a lot of hours and hours learning, and I start applying on my son. The best thing I was doing, and I recommend each and everyone to do, is journaling. So I was journaling the day of my son, the behavior, the food, everything, and I start seeing some pattern between food and the behavior, how he's feeling, and all these things. So I removed gluten, and I removed dairy products. I removed chemicals. I did a lot of cleaning and a shift in our lifestyle. It was At the beginning it was a big huge shift. As you know, I am from Morocco, I grown up in Morocco, and I studied in France. So in nutrition we have bread and cheese, so we
Mhm.
have these two things. If you remove them from the diet, it's like you
Mhm.
you
You're an outsider.
you lost your balance. You don't know what to do. So I started learning and I applied on my son, and I was seeing the results, and was moving forward. So as I said, I am not a big fan of a big drastic changes. I am with smooth changes, and changes that even it's a baby step, but it lasts. It's better than doing a very hard thing and stop it after 3 weeks, right?
Mhm.
So I was doing step by step. I removed this. I cleaned the diet, the food. I was very conscious about the food, about the hormones, about the pesticide, and all these things. And I reached a point of water. So I was, when you start learning out this stuff, you will see that there is a lot of link between plastic and brain. So I want, and the gut and all these things. So I was looking for another option. As we are coming from France, of course we're gonna buy, it's just for me because I'm coming from France, so I will buy for me. I want to give, as each and every mom, we want to give the best to our family, right? So I was given like this big brand from France, and in deep down in my heart I was not satisfied, because when I read the expiry date, it's like 2 years. Imagine this water gonna be stuck in plastic, exposed to heat and cold for period of 2 years. So
Wow.
in my heart, I'm giving to my son poison. This is poison.
Which I just
According.
wanted to interrupt you really quick. If everyone who's listening, think about what sort of water are you having? Are you just picking up some water from the refrigerator in the store, which has been shipped, packed, moved around in containers, been stuck in warehouses, in moisture, in heat, just like Hind is mentioning? So, as soon as you mentioned this, I'm going back and thinking, well, most of the people, like, ask yourself this question: do you drink water like that? And if you do, think about what's going to come next. Just
Yeah,
sorry to interrupt
yeah,
you.
yeah. This is very, very important thing, because we think that this is the only option that we have. It's that bottled water because it's convenient, but it's not at all healthy. So we go for something convenient, but it's like we are damaging our health. So what is the point?
It's also a lot of societal pressure. I think because it is convenient and you can find it everywhere. And what happens is, most of the times, I don't know how you think about this, but for me, when I see some other people using something and like it's normal, so if everyone else in 100 people group are having bottled water and then one person is like me, I'm not having it, then I start to think, wow, there, and this will be one of the questions that everyone has. Everyone is drinking bottled water, but what people don't understand is that most of the people also have a lot of health problems that you are not able to see. Yes, they can be, happy in front of you, but what about their focus level? What about their intest?
Energy,
Yeah, what about their gut
energy.
microbiome?
Yeah, we are suffering with a lot of issues, and we think that it's normal.
Mhm.
So sleep issue, digestion issue, lack of energy, all these things, it shouldn't be. Normally, it shouldn't be. So why, with this comfortable life in here in the Middle East, and we still have a lot of people depressed, we still have a lot of people low in energy. This is not normal. So there is something
There's a
to think.
connection
Yeah, there is
between
a
it.
connection. Yes, of course. So water, it was a big, huge ocean of information. As you know, we cannot live without water, we cannot live without oxygen. These two
Mhm.
things we cannot. You can food, you can do diets for, you don't eat or
Mhm.
you fast for 48 hours,
Yeah.
3 days, 7 days, 14 days, 40 days,
The
we can.
last, the longest fast in the world, I think, is like 300 something days. It's an
Yes,
American
we,
guy.
yeah, yeah.
So we know that it is possible. It can be
It
done.
is possible. I'm not saying do it.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah,
don't.
that guy was also 400 pounds or something.
Yeah,
So
I am not saying that you do it, but it is possible.
yeah.
So we, if we don't eat for 3 days, 4 days, 7 days, we nothing will happen.
Mhm.
Okay, of course it's even better that we clean ourselves
Yeah.
and do this autophagy and stuff. So water, it's the most important thing in our life. It's the if I have to go back in time, I will start with water first before to go to nutrition and diet and removing stuff and cleaning my lifestyle, being picky about the pesticide, the herbicide, all these things, the hormones in the food. So I will start with water. Why? Because water, everything it's water. So we take medication with water, we take supplements with water, we drink water. So we need to have a right water for our body, and right water for our body, it's spring water. It's something natural, living water.
Mhm.
What we have in the plastic bottle, and it's dead water. It's
Tell us more about this. This is a very interesting concept: living water versus dead water. So, what's living water you mentioned is from springs and.
yes, it's I will give you, for example, in France, there is
Mhm,
an area, it's called Lourdes,
mhm,
and this area people they call it holy water. This place, the people go there, they drink water, they get some health benefit because the water is coming just out from the mountain, from the ground. So it's when the water flow,
mhm,
it's got it touch minerals, touch rocks, and it
mhm.
charged.
Yeah,
So it has like
energy.
free electrons,
Yeah.
which is antioxidant, which is really amazing. So when we put water and we leave it in a bottle and we leave it, this electron will die. So we don't have antioxidant. This water,
Mhm.
it's oxidized.
Yeah.
So what means oxidized? That it will speed the aging or the chronic disease in our body. So we need to have something antioxidant to fight the aging process. I'm
Mhm.
not saying we'll not age, but we will age in good
Yeah.
shape and in good energy and good
Well,
body.
we are working on a solution to reverse aging with
Exactly.
my new company. And while you say that, one of the things that comes to my mind, one of the names that comes to my mind is Victor Schomburger. Have you heard of Victor Schomburger? So Victor Schomburger is this guy who observed, like you and me, probably. He loved water a bit more, and he was an engineer. He was also he was in the 1800s, 1880 something, and I think he was also commissioned by Hitler to work for the German army to create. He was a genius of a man, but in short, he was noticing how water flows, and he was talking a lot about this living water theory as well. What he says is that every time when a combination of spring light energy, which is infrared energy from the sun, or all the spectrums of UV energy, and when it water flows in our houses, water flows in pipelines and it turns in a certain way, but in nature it doesn't do that way. It moves through different areas, it touches these minerals, and that's the sort of living. But underneath that water, if you see with using special, even if you're swimming you can see it, there are vortexes. The water moves in a circular form. It's a vortex form. It's a very mathematical dimension of water, and you can create it artificially as well. But in nature, always one of the things that energizes water is that vortex.
This
So
movement,
Victor,
yeah.
yes, the movement of water underneath, even in the sea, it'll be like this. And when you can replicate, and this is one of the parts that give water its addition living properties. So even in your house, if you're listening to this, once I tried this very crazy experiment with having two bottles and swirling it around. But now there are more companies who can do it. You can do it with they have the very famous Victor Schomburger funnel, in which water moves through different parts of the funnel, and then it's the mathematical geometrical calculations must be right for it to move in a certain way to swirl. And then when you have that, further structures the water and makes it more available and absorbable.
Yes.
So when you were talking about this living water theory, all of these things you mentioned, and in addition to the vortex, is I think nature's master way to make water much better for us. And that's why most of the places, like, there are people in the US and in UK where people have websites where you can find your nearest spring. I think springnearme.com or something. And
Yeah.
people take buckets of
Yes,
these
because they
jars,
know that.
because they know that this is a much better water to have. And then when you have that water at home, you can further enhance it by either running through an electrolysis
Yeah.
process, or keeping it. For me, what I do is we have some red and near infrared light panels that mimic sunlight in certain frequencies. So we put the water next to that, or we put them into the garden in a glass bottle. So the ground by itself has a lot of negative ions and negative electrons, which charges the water. Plus, the sun pushes red and near infrared and other light spectrums into the water. So this is another way to sort of charge, get your water a little bit more living. But if
Yes.
you take it through pipes, and most of the pipes, like when was the last time we all cleaned our pipes from inside? I don't know. It never happens, right? So all of these things also are something to consider when you're doing this. But again, we went off topic, but live water, very interesting thing,
Yes.
very interesting concept to have.
Yes, that's we are living in cities and in modern lifestyle. So thanks God there is technology, there is science that we can mimic this living water and we can produce this living water at home. So this is something that me when I start digging in this the water area, and I was really shocked because educate yourself, go and read about the bisphenol, go and read about the plastic, and don't be surprised to see around us there is a lot of people depressed. Don't be surprised to see a lot of people they are dealing with a lot of hormonal imbalance, a lot of infertility. All these things, it's scientifically proven it's coming from plastic, so there is
Yeah.
no
So
no.
plastic, drinking from plastic bottles, or having um, either food in plastic containers or heating
Yeah,
things can cause all of these hormonal imbalances.
absolutely,
And we
absolutely.
see, like these days, I've started noticing this a lot, that fertility clinics around the world have increased a lot. And one reason is because people are getting married a bit late, they're having children later. But overall, the global world population is not, uh, like people would think that the global population is about to rise, we have a small planet, and how will we provide. But if you look at the scientific evidence, we're actually going to be reducing a lot of the populations because of
Yes,
infertility, and people, even though they want to have children, they're not able to have children
with
because
no
of
other, yeah,
multiple factors.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And there is with kids really I invite you to just be aware of that and have a look around us. And there is a lot of kids overweighted, and when you see the overweight, it's a feminine overweight for boys.
Mhm.
So this is something that it for me it's a signal there is hormonal imbalance. This is something that we cannot neglect and say it's okay, it's just he has to lose weight. So there is something underneath that. So it's this is the hormonal imbalance. So when you start digging in this space, and I reach to all the studies of Dr. Emoto, and I start reading about water, about living water. And me, I'm originally from Morocco. We have some spring that people go there and they get some health benefit. And for me, I say this is just psychological.
Psychosomatic.
Yeah, it's just because you think, no, no, there is science behind. This is
Mhm.
what we are talking about. The living water. This water is charged. It has antioxidant, so you can produce all these things. So there is, as I said, there is science. We can have this thing, but just to be aware. And here in the Middle East, when you see all these trucks dropping all this big jar in front of the building, this is for me it's one of the things that wow,
Yeah.
full and empty.
Mhm.
So sometimes full and even empty, it's not something that said okay it's empty. No, because they will fill again this
Yeah.
bottle, so they will clean them and they will refill that.
And we
So
don't know where it's stored, because most of the times, if you go to like offshore storing camps, most
yeah,
of them, they don't even have, I mean, no one takes into consideration that water, if even if you're storing it, let's say in plastic, you have to store it in a place which is not very hot, because the plastic by itself is doing a lot of damage. But when plastic comes in
exposed.
contact with heat,
Yes,
or other sorts of
you
moisture.
can. This is, I will tell you a story. It's happened to me. As I told you, we are a family of five or
Mhm.
six. So if you, I want to go to buy this French water
Yeah.
coming from France. So the budget is really high. So
Mhm.
I had to balance. I had to buy some local or coming from other countries, and just to balance the budget of the family. And one day in one of the big supermarkets here, they were doing like special offer,
Discounts,
a
yeah.
special offer
I
on
always look
water.
for them. I used to always look
I
for
will
them.
tell you something. I bought these packs
Yeah.
and I came home. My first child tried, said, ah, it tastes weird.
Mhm.
The other one, oh, tastes weird, you
Mhm.
know. And I was really, really, uh, the kids, they don't know about the special offer.
Mhm.
They don't know about the price.
Mhm.
They are
Yeah.
10, 8 years old. They don't have this in mind.
Yeah.
or it's coming from this country, not from this
Mhm.
country. They are giving honest feedback.
Mhm. There's no
And
placebo for them.
yes, exactly. And two of my kids told me it tastes weird.
Mhm.
This is how, when I took the water and I tasted, yes, it tastes weird. It tastes something
Mhm.
like plastic, like something. I cannot
Mhm.
mention what it is. And again, I said they are doing offer on water,
Yeah.
and they know they're gonna sell it anyway because
Mhm.
people here buy.
Yeah.
But if they do this offer because they want to get rid of this stock, you know.
Mhm.
So when I get this, it was like a wake up call for me. So for I will go to my background in finance and we tell you, you have a business, you know that this water people will buy it. Why you will
Yeah.
do a special offer?
Mhm.
So when they were doing this special offer and we taste the water, so for me it was a big, big no.
Yeah.
This is there is something if the taste. And I will tell you something about water. You know, when you have a tomato
Mhm.
and it's getting damaged or
Rotten.
rotten,
Yeah.
you will not eat it, right?
Yeah.
Because the look, the visually you
Yeah.
cannot. But what's happened with water? It's water. It's getting oxidized, getting dead, but it doesn't change.
Mhm. You cannot see
So
it.
you cannot see it, you cannot smell it, you cannot. But water that I will bring it from the spring and I give you a dead water, visually you cannot see.
Mhm.
Maybe when you drink it, you will feel something, but visually you cannot see. This is exactly so. You have water, it's oxidized, it's putting more acidity in your body, it's still in your, as I said here, still in
Yeah.
your
Electrical current.
electron. So and we are just consuming it. So
One other thing that just came to my mind while we're talking about this, while we're on this topic of living water, is some of the research from Dr. Gerald Pollack. Have you heard about him? He's from the University of Washington, and he basically, for anyone who's listening, we typically think of our regular water in three forms, right? We can have it in liquid, ice, or gas.
evaporation.
So there's he claims, or no, he's had enough scientific research now to tell us that water has another form. So these are the three basic forms that we think about, but there's another form called easy water or exclusion zone water, which is H3O2. It is another sort of water which is, and H3O2, it comes from glaciers, comes from springs. So all the living water properties that we're talking about, it is structured in a way that the molecules of water are much easily absorbable. When you look at it, it doesn't look much different, but in your body by itself, it becomes, the form of water is not very liquid, but it's jelly, like sort of like a gel structure, and that gel structure surrounds all of your organs. And if you go on a fast for like 4 or 5 days, one of the things that Hind briefly mentioned was autophagy, which is your body's natural cleaning mechanism.
Yeah.
But one of the reasons why autophagy works so well is because you're burning and you're tapping into this internal water source of yours, which is more gel like. So your organs get that. One of the ways to do this also is, like I mentioned before, putting it with infrared heat. And this is one reason why, if anyone who's been to an infrared session, like an infrared heat lamp or infrared sauna, you will start feeling a lot of energy because that heat and that infrared heat directly targets the water structure which is already in your body, making it more easy, like exclusion zone type.
Yeah.
So this is another whole thing of
Yeah, you see, water,
water.
it's a huge
But it
subject.
comes to the same old thing that, you know, trying to, if you can, the best thing to do would be to go at a natural source. And then we can talk about like some of the natural sources being, they have their own, some of the problems, like some toxic
Contamination.
compounds, some other
Contamination, no.
yeah. But if you cannot, then you need to find a way, or you should try to find a way to naturally mimic
Yes.
that flows like state of water, or that living state of water, because that is how nature intended us to have. Rivers, mountain tops,
Waterfalls.
glaciers, water tops, all of these are moving, all of these are live. So, and in today's world, we're sort of not having that living property of water. Even one of the reasons why these, she gave an example of the tomato, but most of the times we take these things which have been frozen and which have been, in shells for so long, like months and months. And when you look at energetic medicine, in a way, all of these things are sort of dead energy. If you can have something and you look at, the some of the traditional Chinese medicine or the Ayurvedic system, most of them would tell you to go buy fresh food. And in ancient communities, there were no fridges, there was no way to store the food. There was a way to ferment the food, which is a
Yes,
completely
it's
different thing,
another
and it completely changes it. But most of the fermentation was done with vegetables, and then it moved to meat in the later stages. But there was no real way of keeping the food in the fridge, and that by itself loses, or like it reduces the life of the food itself. So normally what I would try to do every time is I would try to get as fresh food as possible. So I'll go to the meat market, try to get the meat, not keep it for a long time,
exactly.
and
Yeah,
then just have it, consume it, because that meat or that fruit or that vegetable still has some life energy. But if you keep it for like 2 years or a year, and building on the same concept that if bottled water is there for 2 years, it might have some life energy depending on which fancy brand of French water you get.
yeah.
But by the time it comes
Yes,
here, it loses
exactly.
it.
This is what I'm telling, and I will tell something subject maybe. For example, I give you example of Zamzam.
Yeah,
Zamzam, it's amazing water.
which is in Saudi Arabia.
It's in
Yeah,
Mecca in Saudi Arabia.
yeah.
Okay, so it's a holy water, but you have to go and get it from the well, get it from the source directly. When it went through a process of bottling and the stuff like that, it's not anymore the same properties as before.
Mhm.
And it's exactly the same with the French or
Anywhere else in the world.
other water coming from far away.
Mm.
It's exactly the same. So when we get this water and we put it in the bottle and we close, and
So how many experiments did you do on water? Like you started with all these fancy bottles. Where did you land up?
I will tell you, I tested the tap water, even though here we have this idea that the tap water is not safe, which is not completely right. It's not right. We have one of the best water in the world.
Oh, really?
It's coming from the sea, right? But we
Yes.
don't have all the big nasty contamination.
Mhm.
We have places in the US or in France, we have chemo
Yeah,
medication in the water,
mercury
we have
poisoning.
fertilizers. Yeah, so I I I I had the chance to get closer to people working on this area, and I know that the water it's they are spending a lot of, I will say, billion
Amazing.
on this water. We are in the desert,
That's a
as
good
I
relief.
say.
That's a good
So
relief. Yeah.
we are in the desert, so we have this water, and yes, it's coming from the sea, but it's treated professionally, let's
Mhm.
say. I taste this one. I taste the water coming. Now there is a big trend of alkaline water.
Yeah, alkaline water. It was always, I mean, I think in the last 3 to 4 years, it's been
Yes,
spreading a lot. In the US, it's huge.
yes,
Even in
yes.
Dubai now, a lot of people have been telling me. One of my friends, he wanted to import some water here, and he was like, "Hey, listen, see, I got this vitamin and this mineral and this alkaline water," and I took it for a
Water is
second.
the new gold. You
Yeah.
know, there is water now. It's the new gold. There will be a big issue with water. So,
Hmm.
and people now, as you said, water is the most important thing in our life, but we neglect it. We change it with the juices, with soda, with energetic drinks, with a lot of things,
Alcohol,
with a
so,
lot of
so many
things, with
things.
the
Yes.
tea,
Coffee.
coffee, and our body wants just living water,
Mhm.
just water.
Yeah.
So
That
it's
is primary.
yes,
Anything
that's
you add on top is different, but you
yes,
have to meet the basic essentials
yeah,
of hydration. Because, even if you're talking about sports performance or you're talking about cognition, 0.5% decline in hydration can make you lose a competition, can make you not be attentive and
the
do your presentations in a meeting,
the
get
focus, the
everything goes
headaches,
away.
yes, the mood,
And
the
also,
mood.
yeah, mood is an interesting one, because a lot of people would put these parameters like, okay, how I show up in the world, or like, let's say I go for a meeting, and what are some of these things that, I closed a sale, or I ran fast, or I lift heavy weights in the gym. But a lot of people don't see in their personal lives how they show up. So let's say if you're a father or a mother, how do you show up in front of your kids? Do you get really angry at them? Like, do you when someone cuts you in traffic, do you get really angry and you shout? So these are some of the things that also hydration impacts a lot, because you will see that people who are really hydrated well, they're more resilient, because they have so much of energy flow, or not so much of energy, but they have enough to take on these hard things about life. You have some stressor that comes in, some people would freak out, and you would see people who have had a lot of alcohol or have some kind of a substance that dehydrates them,
Irritated.
they get irritated, they get brain fog, they cannot focus, they want to sleep so much. And like you mentioned, that's not the state that we're supposed to be in. We're supposed to
Exactly.
be boundless, full of love, full of energy,
Exactly.
doing whatever you want to do in the world, making an impact, or doing your cutting your vegetables, but doing it with love and joy and
Yes.
happiness. Well, when you look into a lot of people, and me and Hind can say this because we have in our personal lives met a lot of people, spoken to a lot of people, consulted with a lot of people, and that's I don't I can tell about myself, and I don't see this happening most of the times. Do you? Like, people aren't really focused and they're not really happy and
Yeah.
something or the other.
This
But
is another pandemic, I think. So
yes.
this is the mental health, the focus. Uh, I have children, and I will tell you this is a big issue in schools now. There is a lot of issue, and just I give you just when you check the snack or the lunch box of the kids, when you see what they are getting, you will understand why they are not focusing and why they are irritated, why they are not in a good energy. You know what I mean? So again, it's water. We have it like something normal, natural. So we get it or we don't get it. It's okay.
Mhm.
But actually, dehydration it's really fundamental
And
for
it's very
for the
underlooked.
work for people working. Dehydration. In 2003, like 15,000 people passed away in France just because it was like a
Heat
heat.
wave.
Yes, yes.
Yes. That those heat waves are crazy. I've experienced them.
I was in France at that time, and people were dying like that because dehydrated, and old people they don't feel the need to drink, so dehydration can kill you.
And in 2003, I don't think people took water so seriously. They were like, who wants to drink water? Even nowadays, I have people who tell me, water, okay, you know what, but give me a pill.
I will tell you something. We are looking for the quick fix. We are looking for something complicated, something that a pill. Like I told you
Yes.
before, I was looking for a quick fix, and many things. It comes with small shifts, small tweaks in our
Mhm.
life. So we don't have to go just for for the thing. No,
Mhm.
no, there is small things that we can fix. As you we
Mhm.
told me before. Sleep, hydration, exercise,
Movement. Yes.
stuff like that. Small things can do a big impact. And when I said, as you see my Instagram, I call it Beyond the Nest.
Yeah.
It's for two reasons. I will tell you.
Yes. Go ahead.
Beyond the Nest, it's for moms like me.
Mhm.
It's not only about to clean the kids, to cook for the kids, to bring them to school, activities. No, I want moms to go beyond that, to go to the health of their kids. Again, when we have something expensive or precious for us, we put it in a safe, right? So, and I am shocked to see that, and I was there. It was me years back. Health, it was not something for me precious until we lose it.
Felt it.
Then we have to look for it again. So we go after it. So
And it's easier. It's much, and anyone who's listening to this, a lot of people have this kind of a mentality. Oh, I'm okay for now, and when something wrong happens, I'll fix it. But trust me, guys, you this might be in your head, but me and Hind, we have seen a lot of reports, we have read a lot, we've seen
yeah,
blood panels, microbiome analysis, genetic factors, and reversing it from that point is very difficult. You're much likely going to make yours and the life of your loved ones much easier if you start taking one step every day, and that 1% will help you a lot, rather than having this all or nothing thinking that either I'm not great or I'm like amazing. Because life by itself doesn't exist on all or nothing approach. It exists on a continuum approach. So there are different levels, and you might be on a level 3, but if you take a few steps, you can go to a level 4 in the next 2 years or 5 years. But you don't have to be at a level 0 or a level 10. It always is on a
it's a
continuum.
journey. It's a
It's a
journey.
journey.
I will say it's a journey. Uh, we don't aim to be perfect.
Mhm.
When we get the information, I am talking about myself. You cannot go back. When I read a lot about the plastic and I see the connection between the plastic and the brain, and the gut and all these things, I cannot neglect it anymore.
Mhm.
So it's like it's step by step.
I think we're also wired differently. We're having this beautiful conversation and bringing it to you guys because we think in a very specific way in our brain, or our, you can talk about the neuroscience of it, like how we analyze information, how we are curious about life by itself and trying to bring whatever we learn to other people. Or you can talk about an energetic part of it where, we have a different sort of purpose in this world where we are trying to, you know, either life or destiny or however you want to call it, has chosen us to bring up something new in this world, and we're just acting by it. So this naturally, it's a two-way street. You can look at it in a scientific way, or you can look at it from a way that, okay, these people are the ones that are, okay, they understand something and they want to bring it to the world. A lot of people will not think this way. They will look at something and they'll be like, I know it's really good, and I cannot tell you in how many times I have
Yeah,
people who tell me, I know that you told me that all these things are good, but I don't really care.
yeah.
And
This is.
so we have
I
these
will
all
tell you
different people.
something. I will tell you something. Life happened, so we do things, and we think sometimes it's not for us. We are not involved. Like you are telling me something, I will tell you, no, it's not for me, or I don't feel the need. You
Mhm,
know what I mean? So sometimes when I told you, it was the big shift in my life when I changed and I went from finance to nutrition,
mhm,
and I see the results on my son, and I was journaling and I can see that I'm doing improvement. By the way, at that time, nobody approved what I was doing.
mhm.
I remember very well one time I
You're the
was
early biohacker. High five.
so I started it. My son now, by the way, he's 18 years old and
Mashallah.
he's going to university. So I am very proud of that. So this is my life achievement, to be honest, because in the beginning, it shows like it's a big, huge shift
Mhm,
and going for something uh, uncommon. Now people, they were asking me, why you remove the gluten? Oh, you are going with this trend. Some
mhm.
people, they will just
Yeah,
because you are going out from the crowd,
the
you are
norm. Yeah.
the norm, I say. So I was criticized a lot with my
Mhm,
own family, with people, with my friends, but I don't know what it is, and I had a big belief inside my heart that this is the thing.
mhm.
Don't ask me what it is, but it was that. And I was consistent. I was uh, changing, improving, doing things, trying. I tried a lot of things.
And kudos to you, really, Hind, because one of the biggest things in this world today is when you're
Society.
early, yes, and when you're early at something, a lot of people raise fingers at you, they might mock you, they might make fun of you. And it's honestly, it's very difficult to be in a situation like this. It sounds like, oh, okay, you know what, she learned something a few years ago and now everyone knows about it. But when you're first in telling people something and they don't believe it, it's so difficult. And I'm so happy that you stuck to it, because
I was seeing the results.
yeah.
CG, it's the most important thing. So I was applying and I was looking for, I was really, really grateful for the small changes, the small improvements. I was saying, yeah,
Mhm.
I'm getting this. Great. What is
Yeah.
the next step? And it was not easy in somehow, but I am very, very grateful to that. I am really happy and thankful that this issue helped me to shift the whole health of my family. And what I am trying to do now is to spread that to other families, to other
That's
moms, to
amazing.
just to have a holistic. That's why I studied to become, now I am integrative health coach,
Oh,
because I
nice.
want to treat that as a holistic
Yes.
way. I am not with, as I told you, with diet, with drastic changes. No,
Yeah.
no, no. Life, it's much easier than that. So just we have to understand, to apply, and be gentle to ourselves and do some improvement. And when we know something, for me, and I'm sure you too, we cannot. For me, for example, when I went to all this study about water, about the tap water, about the plastic, about the pesticide as well,
Mhm.
so it's something that's really huge, and we don't care about it that much. It's like
The
becoming
government
normal.
doesn't even care.
Hmm?
No government in the world cares. You will see.
Don't mix economy with health.
Okay,
It's
okay.
two
Let's
things,
not
as I said.
let's not go there. I have already
Health
been
is
kicked out
cheap,
of
sickness
Instagram.
it's expensive. So
Okay, so moving on. Tell us about now. What is the water that you drink, and what is the water that you have studied and bringing to the world? A lot
yeah,
of people might be knowing, or if you guys know, very good. You learned something new. If you guys don't know, then open up your ears, take some pen and notes because this is going to be interesting. Tell us about Kangen.
Kangen, it's a Japanese word,
Hmm.
means back to nature.
Hmm.
So again, it's a technology that filters the tap water and ionize it. And it's the scientific word of that. It's restructured,
Hmm.
reduced water
Hmm.
or electrolyzed, reduced water.
ERW.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you know about it.
Yeah.
So a lot of people they think there is no science behind. There is a lot of science behind. If you go to the chemistry side and you want to understand what's going on in formula of chemistry,
Hmm.
you will understand it makes total sense. If you go to the research on the health benefits, again there is a lot of research about electrolyzed reduced water
Hmm.
or restructured reduced water. So
Hmm.
there is a lot of studies about that.
Yes.
So what it is, so when we pass the water through the electrolysis, the molecule of the water gonna split to two streams. So we have this technology.
Hmm.
It's made in Japan. It's handmade in Japan. So when we get through this process, the water will split. We have one pipe giving us alkalized water, the other pipe giving us the acidic. So the we split the water. The
Hmm.
acidic part of the water will go with the other, the gray pipe. The other pipe with the alkaline or alkalized water.
Hmm.
So the properties of this water, it's exactly the same properties of water coming from a spring.
Hmm.
It's an antioxidant water, so because it's high in active hydrogen
Hmm.
and free electrons. So
Hmm.
these two things, they are very powerful and natural antioxidants. And
Hmm.
as you know, we are bombarded with a lot of free radicals
Hmm.
around us. You know, we are in
And
our
for people who are like, you don't know about free radicals, it's basically it's all these, whether you're smoking or you're drinking or you're out in the sun or you're breathing chemical air or you're exercising too much or you're just lying down and just eating some chips. All of these things, they cause these things that Hind mentioned as free radicals. They're not very good for your body. They oxidize a lot of these cells in your body, and one of the biggest factors of aging is actually free radical. There's all a whole theory of aging called free radical theory of aging, where these free radicals, which are, think of it like they are unstable molecules, so they miss an electron, and because of that, they hit all of your cells and they age you faster. Just wanted
yes,
to tell people
exactly.
about the free radicals.
This is exactly what's happened. So the oxidation or the damage that we have with the free radicals, it's lead to inflammation and leads again to chronic
Chronic
disease.
inflammation.
Yeah, chronic inflammation
There's
that
a word for it. It's called inflammaging. In the aging
yes.
sciences, we call it inflammaging because acute inflammation. So think about it this way, everyone. If you're walking on the street and you hit something and you cut your finger or you cut your leg just a little bit, now there's a lot of immune cell activation, mast cell activation. They're all sending this T lymphocyte cells, and the part where it's got cut, it becomes red, it becomes swollen because it becomes like a very low grade inflammation that goes on, that is there to protect the body. But what happens is when you use all of these, don't exercise and you do all of these crazy things that we spoke about, you cause not acute but chronic inflammation, chronic low grade inflammation. And this chronic low grade inflammation stays with you for years, whether it's vegetable oils, whether it's hormones filled with chicken, or all of these crazy things. And you might think it's just normal, but you have some low level inflammation that you don't see, but in the next 15 or 20 years, now you start getting Alzheimer's, dementia, you can get cardiovascular diseases. And so that the word they say is inflammaging. They combine aging and inflammation because the
Yes.
future of inflammation will always lead to aging.
Yeah, this is when I said this water, it's an anti-aging water.
Mhm.
This is what I mean by that because it's rich on active hydrogen, and
Yeah.
I am sure that you know what it is. And through this process, we have free electrons, and these free electrons, what will stop the free radicals attacking our cells. So this is number one. Number two, it's alkalized. And
Mhm.
again, I want to mention something. It's not alkaline.
Alkaline. Yeah.
Alkaline water, we add minerals and we add chemicals. So that's
Mhm.
why you will see that there is local water. I don't want to give any name. And we have normal and we have alkaline. It's
Mhm.
not a source of the water, it's alkaline already. No, we add minerals and we add things to
Using
make it.
calcium precipitation and all of
Yes,
these things.
yes. And it's a very easy way to make something liquid alkaline. You add bicarbonate soda.
Yeah.
So, but it's not safe for the long run. You
Mhm.
cannot drink that stuff for a long time.
Especially when it's like in larger quantities. In some of the exercise science and sports performance industry, what we do is you can use um, sodium bicarbonate as an acidic buffer, and you could use it pre-exercise. And a lot of athletes, top athletes, you'll see them do this. Like take a spoon of bicarbonate of soda, put them in your water, and just go for an exercise session, because your body is going to be so acidic after the session, so
Yeah,
it
lactic
reduces the
acid.
potential.
Yes, yes,
So this was an interesting way, but coming from, if you do it manually, it's sort of good, but if you do it via chemicals, and it's not just bicarbonate, there's so many other things
yeah,
that
yeah,
will
yeah.
add to it as well. So not a good idea, guys.
Yeah, that's why you will see because a lot of people when they hear the name Kangen water, they mix it with alkaline water,
Mhm.
and this is two different things. Here
Okay,
we have antioxidant water,
very interesting.
and alkalized we don't add any minerals. Again, it's a chemical reaction. I don't want to go on the
Yeah,
formula,
yeah.
but this is what happens. So the water become alkalized and high in antioxidants.
Hmm.
And the third one, it's one of the most important thing, it's super hydrating. The molecule of the water become very small.
Hmm.
And again, when I do testing, and if you never attend a demonstration, reach out to me. I will do demonstration for you or give you my video demonstration, and you will see the difference between the water available and the water coming from Kangen machine or for electrolyzed reduced water. And you can see that this one it's much smaller and much lighter, so you can drink a good amount of water.
Hmm.
Because here we are in the summer season, and we have to drink a lot of water, but a lot of people they cannot drink water. Of
Hmm.
course they replace it with other things, but we are dehydrated. So the water, the quality of water which we are drinking, it's not the water that goes to our cells and hydrate them. So
Hmm.
it's like the molecule is coming in bigger group.
Hmm.
So with the very simple test, I can show you that we can you can see the difference between this water, Kangen water, and what is available.
It's also very interesting, this point, because a lot of people listening, and I had this maybe for so many years. I thought that the more water you drink, the more hydrated you will be, because again, common sense. You have uh, not having water causes dehydration. If you have more water, now I'm hydrated. But then you will still see a lot of people have a lot of water, but they're still dehydrated all the time.
Yes, I have many example of people here in the Middle East or in the UAE. They are athletes or high performance people, and they drink a lot of water,
But they're
but
still dehydrated.
but they are dehydrated.
Yes, and
Yes,
it's.
and yeah, because this water it's very light, and when you try it, I'm sure you
Mhm,
you you can feel the difference.
mhm.
Now, if you give me in other kind of water,
You
I
will
will
feel it.
I will feel it straight away. I can feel that it's heavy.
So
So
it basically it doesn't penetrate the cell membranes, but it gets stuck outside the cell
yeah,
membranes. So in a way, it doesn't truly hydrate the cells from inside. It
yeah,
just gets stuck outside, and then you have to go to the toilet, and then you pee out, and then you pee more minerals out, because no one adds more minerals in the water,
exactly.
and now
And
you're
then
dehydrated
you
even more.
yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting
One of
thing.
the my favorite properties of this water is this we call it microclustering. It's a small group of molecule coming, but I like to call it it's super hydrating. Why? Because when you start drinking this water, so water is our vehicle. It's what will take the nutrient to the cells, what
Hmm.
will hydrate the cells, what will remove the trash from the cell.
Hmm.
Cell is like a small factory. So when we burn the
Yeah.
nutrient to produce energy, it is like waste. So this waste is toxin. So when you have the right water that can detoxify these cells, so the cells they function properly. It, a lot of people say miracle water. Our body is the miracle.
Yeah, we're the nature's best miracle.
Our body, it's a fantastic, amazing machine.
Yeah.
So we do a lot of bad things, and
Hmm.
we still,
Yeah.
right,
Perfect. We
and
can.
can reverse, can do a lot of things. So when we give to our body the right water,
Mhm.
so our body will function at its optimal
Peak.
level.
Yeah.
That's
Also, like building up on this microclustering thing, there is also some kind of hydrogen bonding that happens in the water. And one of the reasons why you, let's say you have water from a tap from anywhere in the world, and the water is normally very hard. One other reason why it doesn't enter the cell is because it's very hard. And what electrolyzed water or ionized water or passing water through plates with negatively and positively charged ions can do is to convert the calcium bicarbonate or magnesium bicarbonate into a different structure of like calcium hydroxide and magnesium hydroxide. And what this also does is reduces the surface area, surface tension, they call it, of the water itself. So think of it this way: if you push water, if the water molecule is sort of hard and you push it through, it's more
fancy.
difficult for it to go into
Okay.
places. But when you lighten it up, when it changes its properties into hydroxide, which is a very lighter molecule, it pushes through very easily. The other thing, which is very interesting in nature's part of view, is that if you take a, let's say for example, if you take a straw, right, you take a lot of straw and then you put water from one end, there will be a flow of water which will have enough, if you put enough water, it will be the size of the straw, but it will flow at a constant rate until unless you put some sort of a pressure. But what is fascinating to me is that if you use light, if you use either near infrared light or red light, and let's say you have like a laser and you put the laser through this pipe, water starts flowing much more faster, much more faster. And this is also shows us the power of nature, because while we talked about that living water is one of the biggest components that can charge that living water is actually light. And every time you infuse this sort of a light inside water, it its ability to push water, well, because normally if it's flowing through that same pipe, there is no force, we're not using any sort of force, light isn't a force, but the photons in light are sort of this information channel, and they also carry different sort of energy. So
Water, there is a big theory about water, the memory of water.
yes,
So it's something just amazing. So
even it is, I don't have that device, but I have another device which I don't have here, but imprinting. So if you go to a lot of healers around the world, if you go to a lot of like alternative, super alternative medicine practitioners, they will give you some sort of a healing water, and they will tell you have to drink this, but they don't use electrolysis or something, they pass energy via information, because water can carry a lot of information. There is also concepts like all the world's water that we have in earth is carrying a lot of information and energy. That's why a lot of people who are, they like to build their houses next to the water streams in ancient civilization as well, because they think that the water can provide some sort of like an information. But in modern science, you can still, you can have like these in, and this is old school tech that they've been using in Russia a lot, is that they, you can use technology to imprint information into the water. So what I would do sometimes when I'm traveling is I'll have like a glass mirror container of like water, like the ones that you use for putting some like tonic or something like that. And then I can use a device and I can put in the frequency of, let's say, vitamin C. And this is another area of science, which is
you are in
frequency specific medicine. And you can actually imprint that frequency. I can imprint, if I can have access to it, there's some companies that are now working on it, that you can have your own stem cells, information from your own stem cells converted into like this imprinting form, and this put it on this water and then have it throughout the day. It's crazy, but we don't want to
it's
go there. We
it's
want to
it's
have,
it's another huge space
yeah.
of
So okay, so we
the
learned,
frequency, and yeah,
it's
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 another.
it's another thing, but we don't want to confuse
So,
you guys today. So
so
we learned
we
that,
keep on
yeah,
Kangen water. So what
we
we can produce at home.
so we can produce Kangen water is like, from what we learned, we'll just do a recap for everyone. Nature has specific frequencies or specific type of water which we discussed, which is very healthy for everyone. We don't get this type of water here.
Yeah.
So the way to do it is using this Japanese technology,
Yes.
which can mimic to some extent
Yes.
this water, which can make it more energizing, more hydrating, more of antioxidant, more
Yes.
of active hydrogen, which is another topic of my interest completely, because I'm starting a company which is focused on reversing aging by
It's one
having
of
molecular
them.
hydrogen.
Yeah.
So I feel like any form of hydrogen, like molecular hydrogen, like I know that Kangen water produces active hydrogen up to a certain bit, but yeah, the power of hydrogen is
It's huge.
unbelievable.
Yes. It's huge.
And
And
so
our body absorb the active hydrogen melted or infused in water,
dissolved
dissolved in
ones in
water. So,
water
so
so
it's one
fast.
of the best thing.
And I think one of the biggest things, I and personally, guys, I it's this science is not new to me because I have Kangen water for over 5 years. I've recently got in touch with him, but I've been using this for me and my family. And yeah, I think one of the biggest components that I would think about this water is that active hydrogen and the negative ORP. Tell
Yes.
us about this ORP thing. A lot of didn't mention this before.
ORP, it's the oxidation reduction potential.
Okay.
So this is a small device can calculate for you if a liquid has it's oxidized or it has antioxidant, which is free electrons.
Which will be in the minus
Yes, if
numbers.
it's minus, that means it's negatively charged. Our body needs a negatively charged water, so that means it has free electrons. If it's positive, that means that the drink or the water or whatever, it's already oxidized. So
Mhm.
oxidized, it's speeding up the aging.
Yeah.
Antioxidant, it's slowing down the
And
aging
you
process.
have a very interesting book here for
I love
anyone
this
who's
one.
seeing, is called Healing is Voltage by Jerry Tennant.
It's
And it's a
MD.
very interesting book because I didn't understand half of the book when I was first reading it. But Hind bought this, and this also builds up on the concept of saying that, inside our cell, we have this negative, our cells are from the inside is negatively charged, and from the outside it is positively charged. So there's an electrochemical gradient, which is, I'm not sure how much he's referring to, but I think it's minus 25,
Minus 20 to
minus
minus 2.
20 to 25. And every time you see diseases coming in is when this cell voltage
It's
charge
positive.
increases. So
Yes.
you want to avoid all these things, which is again comes to aging. You want to build this homeostasis, and if you see you see crazy diseases, I don't want to take any names, you will see that the cells are more positively charged. And what this water can do is provide a negative charge
Yes.
in all of your cells, and we have trillions of cells, guys. So it's just an interesting idea to see that, how does something so essential, and back in the day we were all getting it, again going back to nature.
This book give you give you one of the main idea of this book. There is things that we do, it's electron stealers,
Mhm.
and there is things that we can do, and it's electron donors.
Donors.
So one of the things, for example, acidic water, or by the way, what is available apart from the water that's sell that it's alkaline, all of them, it's most of them they are acidic, and our body needs something alkaline. So we need to give to our body electron donor.
Yeah.
So this book give us a lot of ideas from where to get these free electrons. So for example, walking barefoot on
My
the
favorite.
yeah. Yeah, this is very simple, and go
I
on the
go to the beach
beach,
all every as much as I can. You might have noticed we're living in
grounding.
Jumeirah. There is a beach close by. If I'm in Dubai, if I'm not traveling, I make it a point 5 days a week to go to the beach, just because of, and and I've been talking about this for the last 5 to 7 years, and everyone looks at me like, before I used to post on my Instagram, oh, getting grounding and earthing and natural frequencies and Schumann resonance. And everyone was like, are you crazy? What are you talking about? And
Have a look to this book, you will understand
and
all these
then
things.
and then now I see like everyone, oh, tell me more about earthing and tell me more about grounding. The same people that used to mock me, and I
Yeah,
mean, it's
yeah,
just different levels of understanding
exactly. So we
it.
just we this is what I love to do. It's just I spread the word. I'm very open to people, and just a small step, it's something good. So even it's small step, and people they are going, now people they are much more uh, aware about the
They
plastic.
accepted things
Even the
easily.
government here, they are doing a lot of things about the plastic. There is some sort of awareness starting here, which is really great. So it's coming.
Yeah.
It's coming.
And thank
I'm
you
very
for
positive.
people like you, like
Yeah,
who are
it's
pushing
coming.
this.
And yes, yes, and it's something that it's just small tweaks.
Hmm.
Just because we are formatted or programmed that this is good and this is convenient and everyone is doing the same, so I will do the same.
Hmm.
This is one of the things that I was dealing with. So I'm doing things differently from people, and
Yeah.
people, they are looking at me. Yeah.
And I
So,
must apologize. We were talking about this thing, and I forgot to do something before you came. Basically, for every guest that I have on the show, I and I'm a biohacker, so I'm trying to always hack my environment. And what I do is I have a mat, and it's called an earthing mat, which we have a. It's over there, but we need to connect to a wire. And you put the mat down, and you put your feet onto it, and what it does is it gives you this negative electrons because it's plugged into directly the ground downstairs. And I
ah, okay.
sleep on a mat like this, so I'm always connected to the ground. I'm Whenever I'm working, I might have.
You see why I love science? Because we have a solution for everything.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
am a
for most
big,
of the things,
I
yes.
am a big, I truly believe on science. And when you tell me something like that, it's new for me, I will tell you, just tell me more.
Yeah,
I want
and
just to know.
we will have an interesting conversations which you guys might not be able to listen to because we're talking only about water after this show, where I'll give him a tour of this whole biohacking thing, and we will be talking about these things. But you can check on Hind's Instagram. Maybe she will upload something there.
Yeah, I
So
will.
anyway, so we have this Kangen water is amazing.
So
We
I will add something. Kangen, it's a lot of people, they mix it with filter. It's not a filtration system.
Okay.
So it's not a filter, it's ionizer.
Mhm.
So if we have a big issue, I know people in the US, they have a huge, huge issue with water. They have to put filtration before the Kangen, because the Kangen is restructuring the water. It removes the chlorine, it removes some stuff, but if we have a big issue, we should do a filtration.
Yeah, like
That's
birth
why,
control pills in the US water. The one of the biggest things you find is birth control pill
yeah,
residues.
there is a lot of things, lots of issues. So
Scary.
but there is solution, there is
Yeah.
filtration system that works really good. Other things, it's I want to call it not a water ionizer, I'm calling it a water factor,
Hmm.
because it's producing water for me to drink. It's producing water for me for my skin care, for my hair, my skin. And the last two things, it's producing water, it's super alkaline, it's like 11.5. This one, it makes big changes in my life, because this water, when we go, again, it's science, when
Yeah.
we go to alkalinity,
Yeah.
it's super cleaning. So
Hmm.
it can dissolve oil. So again, I will invite you to my presentation or demonstration, and you will see live how I can emulsify oil with it. And again, because all the pesticide, herbicide, they put them on oil, not for us, but to stick on the fruit and vegetables,
Hmm.
that they don't have to put again, so for their money. So
Hmm.
they put the pesticide on oil base. So when we wash our vegetables, a lot of people, they wash them with vinegar, with the salt. It's not enough to clean this film of or this
Oil.
oil
Yeah.
coat of pesticide and herbicide. This one, it's one of the most important thing. Why? Because even the FDA, they allowed more pesticide on fruit and vegetables.
Of course.
Of
I
course.
mean, we're not, I
Yeah.
mean, pesticide. And if we want to take this conversation another level further, we can talk about glyphosate, which is glyphosate or Roundup, which has now made its way towards Europe. And what glyphosate is, it's one of the most strongest pesticides. There's very a different category of pesticide, which is sprayed on all crops, monocrops. And it is, if you think of if pesticides are harmful, glyphosate, they're being sued in courts now because there is like a 1 million times more harmful. It basically attaches to our cells, attaches with the glycine molecules, it inhibits glutathione production. It is basically, glyphosate is pesticide on steroids. So in the US and the Europe, now you have a problem of average, um, let's say, pesticides. And then you have another category, which is glyphosate, which is unbelievable. So
This
I'm
is really
yes,
scary.
it is. It's unfortunate.
I, I, I will tell you something. You know, when I talk about pesticide,
Mhm.
it's poison, right?
Yes.
To kill what?
Yeah. Bugs.
Insects and bugs,
And
right?
what do we have in our body?
So exactly. So I invite people just to think about the difference between the bugs and us. It's just the size.
Mhm.
Okay. So we are putting poison inside our body. So don't be surprised to see a lot of people now they are dealing with a lot of food intolerance,
IBS.
food allergy, a lot of issue with the digestion. And again, I will link it to something more about the mental health, depression, lack of focus, ADHD, a lot of things. So when you go on all these things, we are our immunity. It's produced inside our gut, right?
Hmm.
Most of it. So when we are killing our microbiome by our hand, so we are leaving our body without any other source of immunity. So because we are killing it with all this pesticide and herbicide.
Yeah.
And imagine when I do the live demo and you see how much pesticide in your almond or your nuts or whatever, a lot of time I invite people to drink this water. Nobody wants. I said, why? They
Yeah,
said, no,
exactly.
it's
Yeah.
disgusting. It's all this. I said, listen, we are eating that with the fruit and
You would,
vegetable.
yeah, if you would not know, you would.
So it's really visual.
Mhm.
So when you see things, and again, when you taste the difference between tomato that I wash with the strong Kangen water and tomato with the tap water, and again, tap water, it's full of chlorine, and the fruit and vegetables will take the chlorine. So
Absorb it.
again, we're gonna eat poison, and the chlorine it's stealing, it's electron stealers as
Mhm.
well. So it's not safe for us. So the pesticide and herbicide, this is something really big. So now there is a lot of autoimmune disease. Why? So some people they feel good now and they don't think about it. But just I invite people to see two things: why we are having a life that's it's much more comfortable, right? We are having
Best thing ever been in.
we are having everything, but why we are aging fast? Why all these chronic diseases starting earlier? So before it was starting at 50s, now at I know people at the age of 40 and
30s.
30 and they are taking medication for blood pressure for
Hmm.
these things. We are not designed to be like that.
It's unacceptable, really.
Yeah, so it's starting earlier and earlier, and now there is a lot of issues that all of us we think it's normal. No, it's not normal. It's not normal to deal with this that at that age.
Mhm.
Why?
So Kangen water can, now we spoke about three new domains. One is it could produce very acidic water, you said,
So
to
the
clean the vegetables and
no
fruits.
very strong Kangen or strong alkaline
Strong
water.
alkaline.
The
Okay.
pH is 11.5.
Oh,
This
wow.
one is super cleaner, and in the same time, the machine produced for me a water that is super acidic. It's 2.5. This one it's a super sanitizer. So if you want to sanitize
Uh-huh.
and kill germ and bacteria, chemical free. So
Yes.
again, it's about a life that we reduce all our exposure to toxin from the cleaning product. You know, all this
Yeah.
product that they sell us that is most effective, but it's most damaging to our
Yeah,
body.
you're breathing that thing in, you're
Yeah,
stepping on that thing, your skin is
and for
absorbing it.
babies crawling on the
They're
floor. Yeah,
oh, yeah.
this is something that some people they get some skin allergy and they get this wake up call, and
Hmm.
some people just breathe in it
And then you see why you don't
and we
perform so
feel
good.
because we are in somehow programmed that to have a space clean it should smell.
Hmm. And that's the worst, I think. I
Yeah,
We started, I mean, I don't think we use the Kangen water. I have a Kangen machine, but we don't use the alkaline water or the acidic water. But we started using not any of these chemicals, because the nice smell that you get is actually, the VOCs and all these organic compounds that come from touching the surface. It's very bad for you. So we started with vinegar and baking soda and all of these things to clean our floors. It doesn't smell that great, but
I will
it's one
give
of
you
the
a tip.
natural.
I will give you a tip. What I do for me when I shifted to Kangen,
Mhm.
I will say lifestyle, I reduce a lot my cleaning
Yeah.
product, a lot of things, the softener in
Mhm.
the washing machine, for disinfecting and everything. I use the super
You have
acidic
to
water.
teach me how to do it.
Yeah, I will show you now.
Okay.
Yeah, and super acidic water. I reduce a lot all this exposure to toxin. And again, because we are programmed that when it's clean, it should be smelling
Yeah.
something. So I put some drops of lavender essential
Essential
oil,
oils, yes. I was thinking
and
about that.
tea tree,
Yeah.
many other options
Yeah.
you have. And this gives you a really nice, because it's really clean. You
Mhm.
know what's clean? It's not the soap, it's the alkalinity of the soap what's
Yeah.
cleaning, right? And the water. So when I clean with the strong, for example, I clean my stove or my oven
Mhm.
with the super Kangen water, so I clean, it's clean. But
Yeah.
for me, I was looking for it
The
should
nice smell.
smell
Yeah.
something, right? To
Okay, that's
feel that
a
is
see how Hind is a really good biohacker. She hacked the smell part, which I never was able to hack with the essential oils. Very nice.
yeah, good.
So we have the cleaning water that you mentioned with the high alkaline, high acidic. These are two options. What about for face and beauty? Because now on my machine, I have an option saying
Beauty
beauty.
water.
And tell us more about beauty water. What does it mean?
Beauty water, it's slightly acidic.
Hmm.
It's exactly the acidity of our skin.
Hmm.
It's between 6 and yeah, 6 and 5.5,
Okay.
6, something like that. And since the water is super it's microcluster, so when you use it on the skin
Absorbs it
absorbs
easily.
it very easily. So it replaces a lot of, as women, we use a lot of products,
Yeah.
cleaning beauty products. And again, it's
Hmm.
something that I am working on, that
Hmm.
to go a little
Reduce
bit,
it.
yeah, to reduce and to go more on natural things and oils and stuff like that. And for me, I use it for as a toner. I use it for cleaning, for a lot of things.
Interesting.
For flowers, if you
Hmm.
have a bouquet, the water I put on the bouquet is the
Beauty.
beauty water, and the flower lasts longer.
Tell me something. One of the most recent things, actually, it started from January. I was born and raised in the UAE, and I know everyone always complains about the water in UAE and how damaging it is for the hair. And, a lot of people start losing hair, but I never really cared about this. I never, t- for anyone who's listening, most of the times, even for a health professional like me, like, I'm consulting people all the time, I would never think of a problem so much until and unless it's like I've faced it. So I never had hair issues. And then suddenly, beginning of this year, maybe I was traveling a lot of stressful things happening in my life, trying to start a company. I started losing my hair, but I couldn't literally see it. It was more like I started getting these small patches of, like just my hair was going up. It's not that much if you cannot see it on the screen. But then I started looking into hair loss, and I started noticing in Dubai, if you have this conscious intention, right, and your reticular activating system in your brain starts looking at this, you'll start seeing most of the men above 30s, they have either a receding hairline, or they have their hair quality is very less. And most of the people, they tell me like, "Hey, CJ, it's because of the water in Dubai." And then with our new company, we started looking into the whole science about this and seeing how we can reverse this damage. Now, uh, cannot officially say this, but like, because you guys are listening to the Shift with CJ podcast, we're coming up with a hair and brain health solution, which I will show you.
Ah, please.
Yes. So all of these things combine, and we notice that hair loss is a very big problem for men, for women, for young, for old. So do you think beauty water somehow can be used for can people take the beauty water and use it for like hair health?
We do use it for hair. We do use it for any kind of skin condition.
Yeah.
I had the chance to work with the naturopath in the US.
Okay.
It's a Dr. Piggy Parker, and we have a water protocol for hair and for skin. And
Amazing.
yeah, and with the beauty water, yeah, it helps a lot.
Okay, perfect. Because this is something that has been I'm
There
trying
is a
to
lot of,
resolve this.
yeah, there is a lot of hair issue and skin issue, eczema, and a lot of
Mhm.
skin issues
You
as
will be
well.
so
So
excited what I have to show you
yeah,
after this.
show me. Yeah, I'm
Okay,
really
perfect.
open to all this.
Okay, perfect. So again, I think we're coming to an end to this podcast. Uh, Now, you've told us about Kangen water. Let's talk about like how easy is it to, like, if someone wanted to understand more about Kangen, can they get in touch with you directly
Yes,
over your Instagram?
yeah, yes, on my Instagram,
Okay.
Hind Afif, Beyond the Nest. So reach out to me, or you can put my phone number as well
Yes,
on
I will
WhatsApp.
put a link to the in the show notes, as well as if you guys can go onto my Instagram right now. you will see Hind's profile tagged into one of the stories that
Yes,
we have done. So that would be one,
yes, and with my phone number.
with her phone number.
So I will give it here, or you will write.
I will put it on the show notes,
Yes, it's better.
because
So
the podcast will be released after some time, so we will put it already from now
yeah.
so
So
people can get in touch.
if you are thinking about the water and you have this, you want to see the difference between what we are drinking, and you want to have a look on the science behind. You want to see how this water can help you. Yes, please reach out to me. I will be happy to assist you and help you. Yeah.
Amazing. So Hind, everyone can ask you their questions about the water. They'll get in touch with you. But I wanted to know from you, like, because you're not just an expert on water, you're a mom, you're into nutrition, you've done, and now you're an integrative nutrition coach. You've seen, and we have some common friends like Simland that we spoke about earlier. So we're in this industry together. Tell me, what are the things apart from water that you have learned maybe this year that can elevate human potential and performance? Like, what are the other some things, something new, something that you've been experimenting with because you're a biohacker? Anything you want to share with us?
I will tell you something. As I said, by I have a degree in finance.
Hmm.
I love finance, but I am very very passionate about the the nutrition, about the brain,
Hmm.
the gut, all these
Hmm.
things. I am really into it. So anything that can help in
Hmm.
somehow, and we are a holistic machine. You know, we have to see different parts of our life, and one of the things that we we neglected a lot, it's sleep.
Hmm.
And we damaged our sleep pattern, and
Hmm.
we are staying late, we
Yeah.
are doing a lot of
Yeah.
wrong things, and we are surprised that we are not sleeping well, and we are overweight, and we are gaining weight and lack of energy. And sometimes we just have to go to the basics,
Hmm.
really the basics. One of them is sleep,
Okay.
and it was something that I studied with Sim.
Yeah.
And when you see all the hormonal behind and the
Wow.
work behind, you will understand that sleep is something really important. It's we have to treat it something religiously. So
Hmm.
sleep is something
So tell us,
very
how do
important.
we improve our sleep? Because the average person right now is sleepless and they're overworking and tired and exhausted. So tell us, what have you learned
I
from
will tell you
Sim? Sim
something
is very
very
interesting
simple.
guy.
I will tell you something very very
Yes.
simple. It's just we have to live in harmony with nature. Okay, so we are not machine living by ourselves. So we are in an environment, we are in a
Complex environment, because
yes,
we you look
exactly.
at, like, okay, people talk about genes and stuff like that. Okay, we have our human cells, which is like 35 to 40 trillion at this point. Then inside those cells we have ancient bacteria called the mitochondria, and this mitochondria is, can go up to 100 trillion. And then they have their own genes. We have our human cells, which have genes. Then we have the mitochondrial cells, which have their own DNA and genes. Then we look at the gut microbiome, which has a variety of species, all have their own genetic thing. So it's so complex. And plus the environment, right? Where
Yes, and
summers is different than winters. And
exactly, and we have to be close to nature in somehow. You know, I know this sometimes it's really challenging here, but you know. In some area, for example, I'm coming from Morocco, and we have, for example, the season of orange, you know, the fruits. It's coming in October. It's just preparing us for the winter.
Mhm,
So, and you see how beautiful it is. So
mhm.
we have to live in harmony with nature.
Environment that you live
Yes,
in.
exactly. And as I said, small tweaks,
Mhm.
small tips. It sometimes it makes a big, huge impact in our life.
So
And
give
when
us
we
a biohack. Everyone's waiting to hear a biohack on sleep.
uh,
What
I
is
was
the one that worked for you the best?
sleeping early.
Sleeping early. Okay.
Yeah.
What
So
time is early?
for me, early it cannot be earlier than 10:30, 11.
10:30, 11. Okay.
I cannot go earlier
In
because
Dubai, it's a bit challenging to go before 10:30.
I will tell you something.
In UAE.
It's about priorities again.
Hmm.
So if you prioritize this and you are having some sleep issue and you want to work on that, you can do some choices, and of course you will not cut yourself from your social life.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
we can manage. And the beauty of our body, that it's accommodating us.
Hmm.
Our body, it's an amazing machine.
Hmm.
So subhanallah, so it's
Hmm.
something really amazing. We do a lot of wrong things,
Hmm.
but keep going. You know, you
Yeah.
do the same with your car, will not go right.
Yeah.
So if we are doing all the wrong things for your car, imagine
Yeah.
it will not
Yeah.
last for. So we are doing a lot of, and our body keep going, keep fixing, keep
Hmm.
managing. And
But it doesn't perform optimally.
yeah, yeah.
So if
So if we do
all the
things
things right,
correctly, yes, we go to our peak, our optimal.
I feel like some things that have helped me, and I wrote. It's not online yet, but like people who are listening, and for you, I will send you a copy for sure. I wrote a book on sleep hacking,
Oh,
and but this is a quick book. Doesn't I wrote it for people who can read it on their phone and read it while they're traveling. So it's not something like this, but something smaller. It's only got I think 30 pages, but it only talks about the hacks. One of the things, sorry, natural hacks. So not going into the various complicated biohacks and supplements, but natural things that you can do. Some things that have worked for me is, like you mentioned earlier, magnesium.
yes,
Very interesting. Magnesium, if you guys aren't using magnesium, start using it. Have the right one. Listening to, or rather quitting work early and having more downtime has helped me a lot. Staying away from screens has helped me a lot. I started doing this thing called the digital sunset. So after the sun goes down, I don't use any screens. So
oh,
all
this
the
is
phone
amazing.
have to wait. So even if I want to do something which involves a screen, I completely stay away
Leave it to.
from all that stimulation. It has to wait for the next day. And I'm lucky now because the sunset now in Dubai is at UAE is in 7 something, so it gives me more time.
Go to Europe. It's
Yeah.
until 10. I'm
So
going
yeah.
to Europe this summer, so
Have
until the
you
9:30.
going to Paris?
Yeah, I'm going to
Okay,
Paris. So
very nice.
it's like a 9:30, 10.
That's the
So
best time to be in with your phone. But anyway, thank you so much, Hint, for joining us
thank you
today.
for having me.
It has
So
been a pleasure to have you
thank you.
on the Shift with CJ podcast. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for sharing your inspiration and hope, which I think is one of the biggest things that we need in today's world. We need to be shown that things can be done and you
Yes,
can be in charge of your health. And even if the people around you are not doing something, you can take that one extra
step.
step of
Yeah,
courage and do something that can positively impact yourself, your family, your community, this world. Because at the end of the day, even if you don't have family or someone to impact, if you can just impact your own self, we're living in a multi web complex
dimension.
community. So you impact one thing and it has a carryover effect in some way or the
Yeah,
other.
just we we mentioned a lot. We talked a lot about the plastic, and again about the environment, about what we are leaving for our kids, for the coming generation. So it's something that we, as you, maybe you don't have kids, me and all the parents, we want to give the best to our family, but also we want to leave them in a good place also.
For the
So
generations
yes,
that have come.
yeah. So this is really, really something important. And again, when I stepped to this nutrition life, and I got a lot of passion about it. And when, if you asked me years back if I will share my story, or I will talk, or I will come to a show like that, I will tell you, no way, you
Yeah.
cannot do it. But when I seen that I helped families, and I got moms, and I had like a talk with them, and they are struggling with their kids, or they are having some issues, and I could help them with 1 2%, I'm very happy. I'm
Amazing.
very glad that I shared something that it's giving back to the community, to helping, to spreading the awareness,
Hmm.
to be in this life with the purpose, with something that I want to do, and I want to people know me. You call me Hind, water Hind. So I'm happy with that, no problem.
Yeah, like
Some
Davis
people,
tells
some
you,
ladies told
Hind is a
me
water
beyond the
expert.
nest. Ladies said, "Yeah, yeah. If I impact 1 or 2 ladies, I'm very happy. I'm really, really happy." So this
Yeah,
is
that is also a very interesting thing, and you'll see that around the world, there are different hotspots or longevity hotspots in the world called the blue zones, and all of these blue zones, one of there's have many uniting factors, but one of the things that extends lifespan is having a belief and a purpose. And if you can lead your day as if you lead your life with waking up in the morning, doing your things, but also have this hope and purpose in your life, then things start to become much more easier and it
Yes.
has a positive
And
impact.
you are inspired to do things. I will not drive from Abu Dhabi to here
Oh, by the
if
way, she
I,
came from Abu Dhabi, guys. That's
yeah,
a long way. I
if
didn't
I,
know this.
if, I am not excuse ladies. So I
Next
will
time I'll
tell
come
you,
visit you, I
yeah,
promise.
please come. So if it was not bigger than me, I won't do it. Because when it happened to me now, maybe 14 years ago, it was like a big, huge problem for me.
Mhm,
Honestly speaking, I told you, it was a big shift in my lifestyle completely. So, and I jumped in a place that I knew nothing about nutrition, about, and now it was this one, it was a signal, it was a message, it was something that's
mhm,
hint for this world. You are not meant to be in finance,
mhm,
go for something
mhm.
else. So that's why, so the purpose and doing something bigger than me, it's not only water, it's a holistic way, it's see and helping moms and
Bringing
helping
more
women.
healing.
Yeah, and you know if someone gets a tip, something from me today, it's a big achievement for me.
Yes, I completely agree. Thank you, Hin, for coming
Thank you,
together,
CG.
to coming here all the way from Abu Dhabi. Thank you so much.
You're
And
welcome.
everyone who's listening, this was Hind Afife from Abu Dhabi. And this is me, CJ, signing out from the Ship with CJ podcast. I hope you guys have had some good information. I hope you've had notes. And like we say always, be empowered, be happy, be hopeful. This is CJ together with him signing out from the Ship for CJ podcast. Have a great day, have a great week, have a great year, or have a great lifetime. Take care.